Hello guys, so it's been a little bit of a while since I've made a video actually, and I just thought I'd turn on camera and talk a little bit about some interesting things that I've realised over the past week or so. Something actually hit me the other day, because I was looking into this guy called Richard Dawkins from, well, he's a scientist person, and yeah, and I don't know, something just hit me as I was watching this interview with him and 5 other guys. One of them was Derran, and it was such a big realization, but I struggle to place much meaning onto it, like in the same sense that I usually would. Anyway, I'm just gonna get started. Not that I already have got started, but yeah. So I went through an awakening process based around a lot of psychedelic drugs and a lot of meditation and a lot of research into this whole side of reality, which I thought was the truest truth you could know. And I thought I had it all figured out. I thought, this is it. This is the place I've been trying to get to my entire life. And the other day, I don't know. I'm gonna keep going in linear order and not skip backwards and forwards through time. And so slowly the spiritual thing started to wear off. It started to feel a bit like floaty and a bit mystical, and I wanted to hold on to it. And the reason I started feeling this was because of Derran. I used to watch a lot of his videos, and this was I started watching them a few months into my awakening, and I'd actually heard of him before this, but I never truly got into him. And he's an illusionist. He sort of takes down the veil, unmasks the reality that we all see, like doing things with psychics, like cold reading, like unmasking them and showing all the tricks they use to disguise reality in this bubble. And I don't know why, but there was a point when I was watching his videos when I was like, I can't believe the things I believe anymore, at least not as strongly as I do. He was sort of he was at the other end of the spectrum as to what I thought was real, and but the thing is, I believed him. I thought it was I felt like he's got much more evidence to explain the things in reality than I do based on a spiritual reality and the idea of the soul and all this bollocks. I don't know if it's bollocks, because you can't say that because you don't know. There's no way of knowing if we have a soul or not. And based on the psychedelic trips I've had and some of the visuals which I've been able to place meaning on, like seeing people's emotions in the form of colours and auras and things like that, which felt so real at the time and felt so meaningful. And I was like, I understand life right now. And I don't know. It's so hard. It's so strange. But there is all these different realities, isn't there? And none of them are really real. They're all just ideas, and they're all just thoughts, and they're all just different perspectives on the world we live in. But are some perspectives truer than others? Because the material world is something we can hold and we can see. So we know it's real, we know it's here because we can actually touch it. I know my hand's real because I can feel my hand, I can see my hand, I can perceive it with my senses. And this is something Aristotle believed in greatly. Is it empiricism, perceiving the world through the senses? And that seems like the most straightforward, obvious way of doing it, and that's the way so many people do it. But we've got no way of knowing if there's another reality out there, if there's some sort of world which we're unable to see with our physical eyes. And obviously we've got scientists are doing stuff about I don't know whether you'd call them parallel dimensions, but it's other dimensions folded into this dimension, and we can't see them. So how can we not have a spirit or a soul? but that's not even linked really. Like Plato talks about having the realm of the forms, where every single object on Earth, but only good objects, only things that he perceived as good, and this doesn't include humans neither, had an original form. And pretty much before we manifested our souls in this body, which he would call the mind, before our mind travelled into the physical body which we living in now, we came from this realm of the forms, and we've got a vivid memory of everything that exists. Like, we know what the true rabbit is, but if we try to draw or recreate that rabbit, it is then a copy of the original form of the rabbit. And that sounds like such a stupid idea, but we've got no way of disproving it, but we've got no way of proving it. So it's always going to be a theory, until one day maybe someone will find this realm of the forms, which I highly doubt will happen. Yeah. And anyway, back to the story. I realised the reason that I started to move away from spirituality and I didn't want to move away from it. That was the thing. Derran Brown had opened my eyes to this other reality, and because I'd seen a truer truth, I couldn't go back, and I wasn't able. And this was months ago, absolutely months ago, about 5-6 months ago, and I wasn't able to put my finger on what was happening. All I knew was I wanted to go back to La La Land. I wanted to go back to this whole other reality where everything was all magical and happy and amazing and spiritual and all connected. And now, obviously, I still think a lot of things are connected because it's all made from the same matter of the universe and the same elements and things like that. But I can't perceive it in the same way that I used to, which is strange. Because I feel like I should be able to. 1 minute. It's just so weird how it took so long for me to be able to realise this, and it just popped up the other day that I'd found a truer truth to the reality which I thought was the truest truth, and that's why it makes you sad. When you're on this journey, not everything's going to be a high point. You're going to have low points too, and that's all part of the journey, because you never do reach the highest truth. As soon as you think you know it all, that's when things are going to go wrong, because you never do know it all. There's so much you don't know, and that's what enlightenment is supposedly. Even now that I know this truth, that there is truer truths, I still don't know the truth. But we're never gonna know the truth, are we? We can speculate and we can try and formulate our own opinions on this reality, but even that's just an opinion. And then we've got scientists who supposedly work on facts, but even they're just working on hypothesizing things. Yeah. It's like I can't remember what they called it. Is it a geologist or someone who digs up dinosaur bones? They're saying that based on the evidence that we have, the world could be no more than 6,000 years old. And that seems pretty impossible, but were you there? Were you there 6,000 years ago? Were you there 17.5 billion years ago? Were you there 14 billion years ago when the universe supposedly started at the Big Bang, which is again just an idea, just a theory? We weren't there. It's all just guessing, and we don't have. We're trying to work out the past based on the present, but the present and the past aren't the same thing. They're completely different. I guess that we're creating the past right now, but we're creating the past in our time zone. A past that we're going to remember, but the next generation won't remember because they weren't here. So they've got no proof of the things that happened. The only way they're going to be able to understand our reality right now in this present moment in 2016 is through writings and videos and books, but that's just like a tiny little part of the things that we're experiencing. there's so much more to it. There's like, what about all the emotions we've felt and all the feelings we have? Like, how do we even know that people a few generations ago having the same sort of experience as us? Like, literally, like, physical experience. Like, bodily experiences. We don't. There is no truth, guys. Or perhaps there is. One day, maybe I'll know the truth. The truest of the truths. But until then, it's just trying to enjoy life and figure things out. If figuring things out is actually the way to go, or if I should just try and live in the moment and forget all this ever happened. But I don't feel like you can forget experience when you've been socialised into it for so long. Okay, right. Nice talking. Bye. I hope the video cuts. It won't. Okay.